Test, 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 test. Thank you guys for tuning in to a live segment here with the You Will Make It TV family. We're happy to have you guys here. 1 second, guys. I hope y'all can hear me, because we're diving into the topic. So I was thinking about these changes again as fear continues to loom. Families continue to come out and share their stories about how they don't know how they're going to eat if benefits are quote unquote cut. There's even news, because I've been doing like even more research, where they said it was a fund, like an emergency fund. That's why it made me go to the question, right, will these changes eventually, like the shutdown extending any longer past the month of November, will it ultimately cause us to go into a national emergency crisis? Because, guys, you can't say I wasn't saying it on the You Will Make It TV channel. In my opinion, when you were already hollering it was a homeless crisis, if homelessness ever gets so bad in any area that you got to start giving the homeless tickets so they're not sleeping on the streets, the bus stops, the city parks, that's a crisis if you ask me. I mean, you could try to scoop it in there like, oh, we're doing this to lower crime. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna fix the issue. Sometimes you just gotta sit back and watch people be the smart people that they are, bro. I'm not even trying to be funny, because how is that smart? It just seems lazy. I said that when they was first trying to holler it was a homelessness crisis. It just looked like that was already the motive, the narrative, to try to make the whole state of whatever the country going through, the poor people, the low income people, it's all their fault. And God is looking at that, because how can people sit there and pretend like the poor people didn't help them get nowhere? I was just wondering, like, you literally gonna sit around and play like poor people didn't help you get nowhere, even if you are rich. Poor people help you more than you think. I mean, that's why really I don't want to have too much comments on this, because it's like people not understanding. One thing always trickles down and affects another. Just like one thing you positively fix could trickle down and fix other things. It goes both ways. So I don't know why they putting everybody in the category like, well, when they snap and we got military and police. The reason I'm not saying I don't respect authority, but I wouldn't infer that as like some tactic, because you was already talking about sending military police just to go monitor homelessness people, just to go give them tickets. Wasn't that just going on in Washington D.C. not that long ago? They've been out in Chicago before that. They say they plan to go to all major cities. I mean, I just see a whole shutdown coming in the near future, y'all. It's my opinion. I just see it coming. I was wondering, do anybody else? What do I mean by shutdown? Not that government shutdown. I mean like a shutdown, like stay at home orders again, and monitoring where everybody going and city curfews. Are the people ready? Why would that happen? This is what happens in national state of emergency crisis. It's usually not taken as a game, right? But yeah, I would say famine and hunger and people not being able to afford food in your country gives you a whole leverage and leeway and opportunity and excuse to shut everything down and say that everybody needs to be patrolled and shut down. Clearly, yeah, because if you, one thing about it, food is one of those things people, dictators in the past and history, they've always used to try to control people. We didn't say EBT, I'm talking about food altogether. They want to pretend like they didn't have laws trying to police people about their gardening. People want to garden, and depending on what state you're in, you got to have certain license and permits and stuff just to grow food on your own property. Because it might not be, you know what I'm saying, a property that you own. So sometimes this is required. I mean, if you've been following some of these homestead influencers and people that try to teach you about how to be more independent at home, like growing food and stuff, you would have found that out. Some of those farmers were being messed with years ago. When I say mess with, just suddenly mess with. I'm not kidding. Because when I see you first messing with the farmers, we already knew you was going to eventually be messing with the people. The farmers contribute to the food on the shelves, don't they? Yeah, they started getting more stricter about what they say farmers should have. Farmers were saying some of the products and stuff they would usually buy and need had went up in price. This was all during the pandemic. I cannot make this up. Farmers had been out crying for, I ain't gonna say justice, but kind of like speaking up, like, hey, you know, farmers could use more help. However, they were saying it, right? Being creative, coming on social media, and some of them, let's get this twisted. I mean, well, let's straighten up what's twisted to some people about that. Not everybody just come and cry on social media. They actually are doing footwork behind the scenes to put in work to try to see some changes happening in their communities. And shout out to the states and communities that we do see doing that. Depending on the government's reaction, it shows you. You know, you thought the people was looking for war. Who really looking for war here? Who really looking to turn things upside down and turn things all around? Because, see, we look at the timelines. The new generation, we're not just going to say, oh, this happened and that happened. No, we looking at the whole 2025 year, bro. It's been crazy. Let me tell y'all, just think about it. The whole 2025 year. First, everybody was celebrating. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Donald Trump and the Trump administration and MAGA's back. Because I'm not one of those here to sit here looking for who to blame about all of this. I'm just looking, I'm describing how everything played out. It don't help anybody. I'm not like the rich looking for a level of class of people to blame for the troubles. Because I'm finna explain the part where I said the economy versus the sexist, or maybe I should have called this segment that, you know? I said maybe I should have titled this The Economy versus the Sexist, literally. That is so crazy. Because you made everybody think, oh, it's a free country. Men and women can go to work, even teenagers. But then behind the scenes, you really got a problem with seeing people do that suddenly? Who is it? The administration? The leaders? Who is it? Especially when people start working for themselves. It was like some type of threat to these people or something. That's weird. As long as they still reporting their taxes, they earning their income, why would you be intimidated over certain people starting their own businesses? Over certain people even attempting to try to do such? Because some people's story is they didn't see all this crazy stuff happening in society and the laws and with the Trump administration and all of this until let's not forget, the pandemic was a whole another national emergency that led people to work for themselves. Tell me I'm lying. So, like I said, the more you come for people's households, food, bills, housing, the more you do that, this is just my prediction, the more people are going to come for what put them in those positions in the first place to need your assistance. It only makes sense to look at it that way. Because they don't plan on slowing down, stopping, what word am I looking for? A little bit. Being a little lenient. Some states, thank God, they have emergency funding to still try to disperse benefits to people. But, okay, even then, you still going to have to watch what you buy. Even if like that, people was talking about they have emergency funding that can kick in. You still going to have to watch. If you think, oh, okay, well, I got emergency funding in November. And you think you just gonna be out here making purchases and they not gonna be monitoring that, you're crazy. Cause now they're gonna say, well, this was emergency funder, and so now we gotta really monitor what they're buying at the stores. I'm telling you, it started with them saying, oh, we're just gonna cut sugary snacks and drinks. I thought maybe that was a good solution too, to be honest. At least more of the funding would be reserved to actual meals that are helping contribute to people's health. Now, I never said I seen nothing wrong with them cutting the sugary snacks and food and stuff off of people being able to get that. Next thing you look up, it's a government shutdown, and just so happened one of the things that it affects is whole EBT. Why couldn't you just leave it like that, where the snacks and sugary drinks and stuff is... Either way, I'm trying to stay on topic here. There are like emergency funding resources. They were saying something about the government shutdown, something about the creative way they're doing it. They're trying to make it legally possible where people can't even access emergency funding for their state in case they need to dig in it so people can still eat. It's so stupid. Now, like I said, the pandemic that they want us to forget so much about, oh, those days are gone. Oh, are they? The days of the pandemic are gone. It seems like you're still trying to use the same restrictions and stuff against people. If the pandemic gone, what real reason do you have to tell people why they can't get, why, like I was talking about on the stream last night, it is whole working parents out here who contribute to paying child support, and portions of their child support actually are taken out of... For the comment in the chat, no, it's not a replay. I'm just continuing to do extensions of the topic about last night, or that we've been talking about for the past week. And that's another thing with my channel. They'll pretend like, oh, we're not watching that person. We're not worried about what that person doing. I had claimed that my channel was going to be reserved for domestic violence awareness topics only. And it's so... See how the trickery works? So, thank God we did get to do that. The first 3 weeks, feel free to tune in if you are interested in hearing more domestic violence awareness topics. For the year 2025, we do have them available right here on the channel. Pooh. Uh, right when I said I was doing topics just about domestic violence awareness, they hurry up and make a big distraction in the news. Where it's like, no, we don't need to focus on domestic violence awareness. How about you focus on feeding your kids? Even if we focus on feeding our kids, the topic should be about both parents that contributed to all kids and the feeding their kids. Don't just make it about the single mothers now. That makes no sense. When single mothers ain't never laid up and got pregnant on their own. That's what I'm talking about, and how people are staying quiet about the part that, because like I said, people that was getting child support garnished a little bit to go towards Medicaid and food stamps, because that's a real thing too. I hope they start seeing more of their child support, even if it's just 1 month of no benefits. Well, that money should be going back to the child support recipients, because y'all do take out of people child support just to go towards Medicaid and food stamps. But that's what we were talking about last night as far as EBT education, and people just going around here saying stuff and they don't know what they're talking about. Not when it comes to that, because there are parents that work, get child support, and still qualify for SNAP. What it is you got a group of people out there that just don't like it. To them, that's three different sources of income. But we were talking about last night how there have always been income regulations, restrictions, qualifications, requirements that you have to meet to even qualify to receive EBT. I hope I made that clear last night on the stream. Nobody who was making enough money didn't qualify. If you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at the people who were dispersing the EBT to begin with. Because guess what? They're not even going to qualify you to receive. The benefits ain't going to come on your card if you make too much money. If you turn in all your documents and paperwork and it show that you make too much income, you were never going to get approved for EBT to begin with. So how you going to say people out here playing the system? There might be some doing it. But yep, as we see, they want to make it like, because like I said, it just seemed like an agenda to make it like the poor people was the problem. And it's so stupid. Poor people also pay taxes, and there's no statement you can make around that fact. Yeah, poor people pay taxes. Even if they're making minimum wage has never been a reason that they stop taking out of your taxes. Maybe we will see. There's never been a reason why they stop taking out of your paycheck because you make minimum wage. They might take less out of your paycheck because you make minimum wage, but it's not going to exempt you from them taking taxes out your check because you make minimum wage. I'm just talking about the way it's always been. You know, so yes, there's parents out here that very well much so receive child support, and they get food stamps, and they got a minimum wage job. They're still in a different income class. You're just busy watching their pockets. That's all that's exposing. You're busy trying to make sure you put roadblocks so that if they do get new opportunities to increase their income, that they can't do it. Yeah, they being exposed for that. Trying to make distractions for about everything else. Like, well, if they're busy hunting for food, they won't be able to bother us about what we've been doing. Only people with money could create those type of narratives and agendas. But everything is the homeless and low income people fault all of a sudden. Make that make sense. If you keep blocking opportunities for people to be able to increase their income, yeah, you're kind of forcing them to continue to need assistance, whether that assistance is from the government, family, a neighbor, a stranger they know. Last I checked, assistance is assistance, regardless of who it comes from. That's why I say when you look more at the cases, because every food stamp household is a different case. Everybody needing them is for a different reason. And for different time spans, different timelines. For example, a woman have a newborn baby. You crazy if you think she can get up and just return to work. You crazy to think that. Any woman ever had a baby, even medical professionals gonna tell you they need a good 6 weeks before they even think about returning to work. Okay? People like that, I was bringing up scenarios we can understand. Like, why wouldn't a person be able to use food stamps for 6 weeks if they need it because they have to miss work because they just had a baby? And guess what? If the father don't agree, because I don't know no woman that's ever been able to force a man to marry her just because she had a baby. And we know this is facts. Just because she finds out she's pregnant. I guess what they're saying is that, well, everybody find out they're pregnant and know they can't, they have no real financial plan of how they're going to take care of the baby in the future. That's what they pretty much saying. We should just go ahead and abort the babies. I don't know what kind of population control stuff is going on here, but it definitely seems that way. You know, because if you can't feed the babies, they're not going to last long. Then you don't have a future generation. It's just crazy. How you go from child tax credit, because once they expose, they could do stuff like that to help people during the pandemic. Now we know. They can make changes if they want to help people. We saw it during the pandemic, but it is like somebody trying to force a national emergency, because we know when that happens, that's a whole reason for the military, police to more monitoring police people when you go in a national crisis state of emergency. And I'm sorry, hunger is going to be one of those reasons. But before they was even, this government shutdown was happening, I said, why they ain't went into a national crisis emergency, since they claim homelessness is such a crisis all of a sudden? So much so that you got to give people tickets if they sleeping at the bus, sleeping in the park, sleeping on the side of the road. Now they get tickets depending on what part of the country you're in. You're gonna get a ticket, and you got to come to court and answer about this ticket, and explain why you're out there sleeping on the road. You're just delaying the truth. Let them homeless people with tickets come in and tell their stories then. Yeah, let them come to court and tell their story while they sleeping on the road at the bus stop. And don't cut them off. Don't try to make them seem crazy. Don't make them try to seem like they have a mental. Actually listen to their stories. You'll be surprised why people out there, but then they got to turn around and pay for a ticket. How the hell they going to pay for a ticket? They barely able to pay for a meal, a hotel room. It's many reasons people end up homeless. Once again, we were talking about that last night, from credit checks to backgrounds to identity theft. Let's talk about that for a second. Somebody steal your identity, how can you go do anything? And they know people been out here going through that. They know since the invention of technology and people learning how to hack and spam people and scam people, it's really been going on. Since social media, the internet, all this stuff been out here, mobile banking. They know people bank accounts been getting hacked and stuff, and they still cutting food stamps off. That part. And so, yeah, it makes sense if people are slowly losing faith in their quote unquote government, because they're not understanding how it is. You say you care for the people, like the people care for the country. They gotta care for the country. They've been letting you take wages, garnish wages out of their paycheck called taxes, and they say nothing about it. So to me, the low income does care about the country. Nobody was ever going on protest because taxes are being, they just get their paycheck, pay their bills, and go on about their business. They weren't putting up a fight and going on protest about that. But now everybody and problematic and troublesome. You gotta police them and give them tickets if they sleeping on the side of the road. But you don't want to address the real issues that might be happening. What's causing people to be homeless? Yeah, that's why they don't want to talk about identity theft too much. That'll prevent a person from being able to apply for credit, a vehicle, even a job. Because, with jobs, background check is a whole part of the process. These people using a very own system to, it's just weird. Hoping that you don't know the system well enough to push against anything that they're talking about. It's weird. Some of these programs, even if they assisted me in the past, I always wanted to give back in a way like, hey, I have this idea or that idea. They seem not too fond of ideas, or if they do take your idea, you'll get absolutely no credit. They're not going to do a ceremony, a reverence or nothing. Hey, this recipient that was once on food stamps helped us come up with a better idea to assist people. They'll never tell that. They'll never announce that on the news. See, it was all about image. If we can look like we care about the hungry, and that's another thing. Everybody talking about EBT cuts. Bro, that ain't the only thing that's been cut. Funding towards all kind of stuff had been going on all 2025 year long. I just stayed quiet, but I'm like, let's see how long it take people to put the puzzle pieces together. Because one of the main programs they been cut earlier this year, y'all. Because maybe some of the rich people didn't notice. They just out there talking and judging government benefit recipients. I don't know if a lot of people in the wealthy class or uh what's the other class, y'all? Low class, middle class. A lot of people are not aware, but months ago in this year, y'all, they cut off another program that was assisting parents. And let me break down how this program works too, because every time you say assistance, people swear it has something to do with money, and that's just not true. Shout out to you, bombastic side-eye criminal Bo. Uh, this comment here just says job. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but what job when funding for after-school programs and childcare was cut months ago? See, they not getting it, y'all. They still trying to stay. Oh, just get a job. How the hell you gonna do that? Cause look, all I'm gonna say is like when my girls was little, for example, all them jobs I had while my girls was like little toddlers, I had daycare assistants. That means I paid a portion, a percentage of their daycare fees. And anybody really ever looked into daycare and seen how much it costs? Not too less from what college costs. I ain't gonna lie to you. Literal college tuition is not too far from how much a parent might pay per year for one child to go to childcare. We're not asking people to feel sorry for us. We're asking people to do their own research and then speak. We don't need you to feel sorry for us. It's a simple fix. I guess that was a quote unquote, they want to say that was taxpayer money too. No, you're forgetting about that percentage of parents who do pay child support. A percentage of their child support would actually be taken out to go towards the daycare or to go towards Medicaid or to go towards EBT. I'm going to keep talking about this because it's like people didn't know that. It's not just random taxpayers that contribute to every household's benefits, especially if that household receives child support for the children in that household. It's not just taxpayers that's helping take care of them children. They also garnish some of the child support wages, I'm sorry, income to go towards that. Okay? For those that didn't know that. It ain't just taxpayers paying your benefits, paying for your benefits, and they whole mother or father is somewhere making child support payments. They take out of that too to contribute to that money. Ask people who pay child support. They can tell you. It ain't just money that goes to the other parent's card every month. People stupid. The amount that goes to the card is after the state has taken out for benefits if the parent is receiving them. Once I had, like me personally, once I had learned about that, it made you almost not want benefits anymore a long time ago, because it's like they will garnish. Let's say your whole child support payment monthly is $2,200. What I'm saying is that parent wouldn't receive $2,200. That parent would more receive probably closer to $1,800 of the 22, because their other money is going towards the food stamps, Medicaid, SNAP, daycare assistance that the parent is getting. They do take that out of child support. Here. Now, I understand cutting off the ones who they're getting no child support at all. I'm not saying that that's right, but I was saying it would make a little more sense. Like, oh, okay, y'all parents that's getting government benefits and the other parent ain't paying nothing. Yeah, we cutting y'all's off, or maybe we leaving y'all's on. It's different if you come out and say, okay, all parents that receive child support no longer get government benefits. They still would complain, right? Because most parents would agree they don't just live off of child support payments. And it's effed up if you try to force a person to live that way. That's weird. They want to go tell the narrative that these parents are trying to live off child support when, okay, expose those receipts. How much do you claim you're paying? You know how much child support have to be before you claim or accuse somebody of living off of it? You know how much money that would have to be for you to quote unquote live off of child support? That's weird. Did you blow your bubbles? I can't believe people didn't know that. I don't care if I'm on here for 2 or 3 hours today. People are going to learn from other perceptions what EBT was really about. I don't care. They act like they want people to learn. Let's get our knowledge up, ladies and gentlemen. There are child support paying parents who contribute to their kids who eat off of EBT, period. Maybe not every parent. Every parent can't speak on it because every parent does not actually receive child support. Even EBT them can tell you they have recipients who still receive those benefits who whole get child support. And depending on how much they get, y'all, you're not going to qualify for food stamps. If you get $5,000 a month in child support alone, plus what you bring home from work is $3,300 a month, they might very well say you make too much to get EBT. But it ain't too many just low-class people in everyday neighborhoods receiving that kind of money for child support. Even child support payments are based around the income of the working parent. If you only make $1,000 a month, they wouldn't make you pay $1,000 in child support. They might make you pay $250, something like that. The payments might come like $75 a week to the parent. But we're not going to sit here and pretend like they weren't whole garnishing people's child support payments. I'm telling y'all, they garnish the payments. The parent do not get the whole amount if they get food stamps. It's always been like that. That's what this right here is about. I don't know. Y'all better pay attention. I encourage anybody, if you was making child support payments, you need to call their office and ask them, how do the payments change? How are the payments going to be affected because of the government shutdown? That's not one of those things you heard is going to be affected because of the government shutdown, child support. Why? Because that's money they just garnished for people to be able to contribute to their kids in another household. It's so crazy, y'all. They talking about jobs. I know when they first started spreading that narrative on the internet, oh, people are quitting their jobs to become content creators. Who do you think that was behind it? Them people start reporting that to the government. Though creating content is work. Though social media platforms and all these platforms will even verify that they do pay you once you start getting so many views and so much activity on their platform. Like, it's literally proven, bro. I think I'm gonna do my next segment. I've been wanting to do more like slideshows for y'all so I can show you actual facts while I'm speaking these facts. Just about every platform. I don't know about Twitter or some of the other ones, but just about all the rest of them, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, they all have created some kind of a affiliation programs where people can get paid. Another thing I wanted to explain from people, some people don't get paid directly through views, but whatever business that they promote on the internet allows people to connect with them. And yeah, the government know this, but let me keep going. Let's say you sell t-shirts for a living. You just sell, you create custom t-shirts. Okay? But you're a SNAP recipient. So what? That's still a form of income. SNAP just wants to know if you make over a certain amount so they can cut them off. Yeah, you can start a t-shirt business. The first month it just take off. You make $7,000 that month. Yeah, EBT wouldn't want to know about it, but that would be considered that person's work or job at that time. I can't believe we having to go back to the basics to get people to be reminded of what work is before you holler somebody need to get a job. It seemed like to me the older generation's just mad because this is not stuff they could do when our generations were younger. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't just get on TikTok and create a TikTok shop business and make easy money from home. So how do they attack us? They'll tell us it's not real work, though we have our own kids to feed. This is not the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I don't care how they try to, make it great again. It needs to go back to those times. To the times where job opportunities were plenteous, but they weren't as convenient as today. Ever since remote jobs came out, it just seemed like you had a group of jealous people this whole time. I've been trying to tell people that's what it's about. You got a bunch of jealous people mad because they couldn't work from home in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s. They could if they were more like hairdressers, maybe fashion designers. Like there is some work they could probably still do from home back then. But even then, it was still a lot of footwork. You know what I'm saying? Going out and physically passing out business cards. Going out and physically networking with people. Versus today, you can network with people just joining a group on Facebook of 1,000 other people who do the same thing that you do. That's literally how convenient it is for people today. Maybe the challenge is, how will they explain themselves? So you roll out the internet, you roll out the social media technology, and then you want us to explain ourselves of how we choose to utilize it to bring in income? That's crazy. And I hope that they're just as much pressure. Like they'll let apps like OnlyFans be whole legal. OnlyFans, where people just sell images of themselves. Whether it's a video image, a still image. You notice you ain't heard nothing on the news. Oh, OnlyFans is now banned. Porn sites are now banned. They're literally coming after resources, like attacking resources that people used to survive before social media was even out. Let me find out social media has anything to do with these new it's just crazy. These new stipulations and stuff. You wouldn't even know people eat more snacks. That was exposed through social media. All people do on social media is eat. But, I mean, they show themselves eating. They show themselves doing food reviews. Some of these social media platforms actually put more pocket into the vendors' pockets by going out to these restaurants and doing these reviews and sharing this content. We're not going to pretend like that's not a fact. Literal food establishments got more business once people were able to like leave reviews and share content about how the food was, about how the experience was. Hotels, food. What do you think vlog channels are about? I think people had the conception that, or the perception is the word I was looking for. Like they can't make their mind up with the accusations. Oh, they all turn into social media for work. And if they are, and we know that ain't true, because it wouldn't be a lot of businesses and companies still in business if everybody and their mama went to social media for work. Make it make sense. They were under the perception. I mean, like I said, I think people just jealous. Like, oh, you didn't have TikTok and stuff in your time, so it bothers you to see single mothers sit at home and make easier income. That is more convenient. The hell, the fathers ain't there helping you or something, and you can make content from home and still feed your kids. Why not? Like, I just try to put myself in the shoes of fathers who might have kids in other households. Like, we understand what the women have always just been forced to take care of the kids. What you mean? We understand the side of the women with children. That's never been new. But what they do stay quiet about is like, well, how are their fathers getting by? How are they still able to post so much money and nice cars and nice fits, and they got kids in 10 different households? And nobody questions them about anything. They don't say that they're hoes or that they just popping out babies. But the fact is, they're doing the same thing, because it always took two people to make one baby, bro. Whether the baby is twins, triplets, it takes two. And like we was explaining with the EBT education segment last night, nobody ever go do an application for EBT, whether they have custody of the kids in their household, whatever the situation might be. One of the questions gonna always ask you, like, how many adults over 18 is in the household. You know why they ask that question? Because if you're over 18 and you're applying for EBT, they're gonna ask for proof of income. You can answer the question if you want to, talking about you don't have proof of income. Don't let them find out about it. That's how a lot of people getting caught up. They caught themselves. They thought they was playing the system. You can't lie on that application talking about you don't get no money, but on social media, they see you living lavishly. Which I want to defend some of the people, because some people, I believe that too. They just have a aura on them. Like, people just think they have money all the time. They can't even wear a new fingernail polish color without somebody thinking their income changed. All they did is change the paint on their fingernails. Which I'm going to remind people, something like fingernail polish you can get for literally 98 cents. Probably cheaper than that at a thrift store. Brand new. Or you can go to places like Dollar Tree, Walmart, Target, and still find a bottle of nail polish for $1. Okay, let me keep going. A pair of eyelash strips, $1. This stuff that y'all think people have money all in the bank, or they hide money because they have this on. That don't mean a person got money because they got on eyelash strips. They might put them lash strips on and it make them suddenly look different, like they got some money, but you can tell people dumb. You can get a strip of eyelashes for $1 at the Dollar Tree. The glue to put the adhesive on the eyelashes and the eyelash strips is only $1 at Dollar Tree right now. I can't make this up. Maybe I should do a live one day where I'm in the store and I actually come on camera and show y'all. It just baffles me, like, the way people think. You could tell they had a problem with content creators. That's why I said I'm going to just call this out real quick. Because then they make the bold statements talking about, yeah, people, it just showed you they've been pocket watching everybody and mad because that's being exposed. Maybe it started during the pandemic, who knows? But why are you worried about what people are doing for work after they walked away from their jobs during the Great Resignation? Some people started their own businesses. Some people started brand new jobs at brand new companies. But if you're going to make it a deep topic, why don't you do that? Why don't you work on returning everybody's jobs that they had before the pandemic happened? Not only returning those jobs, but maybe increasing pay. Just to sit back and be lazy and cut stuff off and throw narratives out there, it's just getting old to people. And it doesn't make you look like some great leader. It looks like sometimes people are, always ready to abuse their power. Just pay attention to the channels that have all this buffering, pauses, because they cause distractions in the background every time they see or think you trying to work. I told you, I'm the best candidate for this topic. Then they want to deny it, but don't worry, guys. We've been busy, proving ourselves, for sure. That's the worst thing you could take a person through is say that they don't. So people just want to sit around and they don't want to eat. Like, how you gonna make everybody look like that? That's weird. But yeah, people must know that there are whole child support paying parents that get and receive EBT. That's another circle of people that I ain't gonna say they never cared what they going through, but you had a lot of fathers been complaining that they couldn't quote unquote afford their child support payments, which might be $100 a week. That's if you got one kid. You don't see them out here marching, doing protests. They just be having to fight the courts back and forth about the issue. But I didn't know if a lot of child support paying fathers were aware that, yeah, when they garnish your wages, a portion of that goes to the other parent. The other portion goes to the EBT people. That's something I'm gonna be looking more into. It's a whole reason, boy. Like how much it don't hurt But they think just cutting it off is, and then that's the end of the story. No, how much of people's child support have y'all been garnishing, honestly, just for them to receive Medicaid food stamps? And if they start calling you saying, well, hey, where's that money? Like, how much went towards the state out of my child support because my baby mother or baby father receives food stamps? People should start asking that more, because yeah, they do garnish some of that money. Pay attention to your payments. How if you're getting benefits, the payments seem to decrease. It's not that the parent is paying less, it's because they're garnishing it to go towards the EBT funds that they are depositing onto that parent's card. Now that parent don't even get their full child support payment amount, because guess what? They're going to be taken out of it. Okay? I got some notes here because I want to make sure I cover the things that I didn't get to go over last night. I think we went like 2 hours long. Feel free to tune in to previously recorded streams just like these. But I said what I said. I said what I think it is. You got a lot of people sitting in higher seats of power, jealous because the people can make money. You shouldn't even be worried about it. If you rich and wealthy, why are you worried about how the next person, the next generation might succeed by using the internet, creating internet businesses and internet hustles, whether it's content creation or whatever? That's what we want to know. Why would you be worried about it? And we know they watching the people, because see, now it's easier for them to get influential ideas and stuff from people, from the masses, because everybody's on the internet now. They on social media. If they put a creative dance up there, a new creative fashion, a new creative quote, I wouldn't care what it is, a new creative book, and they begin to market and promote it on the internet, because you notice other businesses can do it all day long. Albertsons can have a Facebook page. Taco Bell can have a Facebook page. Any business you can think of today also has a Facebook page. It's only the single independent people that's working for themselves that seem to be having a problem suddenly with monetization, and that's why I don't worry about it. I know ways I can create money ideas and still use the internet for my benefit. Everybody is not getting paid through direct analytics and view counts and subscribers and followers. Not everybody gets paid that way. They create some type of distraction. I just like to be the type of person to pay attention. Every time you speaking on a certain opinion or make a certain comment, suddenly something is happening. Something happening outside, something happening in the back room. For those that were wondering why I do so many pause breaks on some of my streams, but I know it's other content creators just like me, and their circumstances might not look just the same, but they can describe what seems like outside forces attacking things that surround their life. Once people find out what you do for work, then they want to say you're trying to hide something. And these days, there's nothing hidden. If you always have reported your income to the government, if you've always paid your taxes, you know what I'm saying? Even if you get food stamps, they want to know exactly where you work. I don't have a problem with it. I never did. But if something suddenly start going wrong at a person's job right after they report to the food stamp office where they work, what do you expect the person to think? And that keeps happening? So they'll find me rude sometimes when I just speak up, like, hey, actually this time, no, I don't want to tell y'all where I work. How about I just submit the check stub, and that shows my proof of income, and we move forward, and I let y'all know when I don't need the program no more, right? They was like, well, we the government, you have to tell us where you work. And that's all I needed to hear. I don't know about other people, that's all I needed to hear. So now I'm just glad they admitted that. They admitted that. We the government, you got to tell us where you work. Oh, that's another one. Child support, that ain't even like a government benefit. That's like court ordered. You see what I'm saying? and they'll say you have to report that income too. So it actually does put them people in your business more than you think. You just expect them to be handling people's personal information with the integrity that they're trained to do such with. Ain't nobody reporting to you who they baby daddy is for you to go dig off into their personal business, starting family chaos more than they already had. Because it got to be some kind of chaos going on. You got to receive child support. Them people just nosy. And they're supposed to be nosy for the protection of the program, not just to be going to get their own selfish what's that called? Like their own selfish benefits out of what you already. Come on now, if you are on food stamps, Medicaid and shit, you gotta be struggling somewhere. But they claim that we try to hide our struggles. Who can really do that in the age of social media, camera phones, and technology everywhere you turn? Who can hide their struggle? That's what I want to know. That quote where they used to be like, don't let them see you sweat, blah, blah, blah. Nigga, I didn't mean to use that term, but it is a new time. It's a new time in history. Nobody can hide their struggle no more. It's been like that. Because what they might consider you hiding is you minding your effing business. Like I said, I hope it ain't too many other people with that same story. Okay, so you get on food stamps. You was going through a hardship. Then you get a job. You know what food stamps gonna ask you? What's the job? You might say a construction worker. They're going to say, no, that ain't enough. What's the name of the company? So, boom, you give them the name of the company. What's the name of the supervisor and what's the supervisor phone number? I'm talking about information I used to just give out freely because this is what they ask you. Then they'll say, well, what's the supervisor phone number? Okay, the next question going to be, what's the pay? Even if you ain't got your first pay yet. What's the pay range that you're going to be getting paid? So you might tell them, oh, $17.50. Then the next question is going to be, well, how often are you going to be getting paid? We're talking EBT education basics, because not everybody knows this. Or they could say, well, I got EBT back in the 90s. Even if you one of them people, baby, you're not going to sit here and convince me that EBT, the whole food stamp program is the same way that it was in the 90s. You would be actually incorrect. Yeah, the program been around that long, but baby, if you don't think there haven't been changes, for example, with the TANF program, they used to have, I can't speak for other states, or all states is what I mean, but they used to have where pretty much if you got approved for TANF, once again, you have to submit proof of income, hardship. Nobody just gets approved for these benefits, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So if anything, a person being on them longer and longer and longer, even if they have a job, it is showing proof of something. Like, why is this person in the same struggle? Because if it's not a disabilities that are clearly understandable and you're able-bodied, what are you really going through? What are those barriers that are preventing you from working? They used to be what they cared about. I'm not saying they don't no more, but I'm just saying that when the program was and everybody benefits, they could look forward to them the next month. That's what this is about. If whoever you're working with that cut your benefits on, its main goal is not to help see you go to work and alleviate the barriers a little bit, and their job is not to pay to alleviate your barriers or put the money in your pocket to alleviate those barriers, but maybe more help and guide you through resource options. People just be like, what's your resources? What's that person's resources? No, ask the better question. What's the person's resource options? You could have 20 options before you even choose one route. Let's say because a person could say, well, I thought you said you chose this option last month. Okay, keep listening to the person. They're not even active listeners, but they want to be in charge of everything. Listen to the person. If they told you, well, okay, I took this resource option. Okay, well, what happened? Because now you're not using that resource option. Obviously, something happened in the past 30 days. Just as quick as you can also gain access to a resource option for any reason, you could also learn that that resource option is not for you. Just because something is painted a certain way don't mean it's painted that way for everybody. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, we could all look at it something that says free chargers. But when you get to the actual stand where the sign said free chargers, you learn that they're only iPhone chargers. Stuff like that in life. Of course, they're free for anybody that come to the stand because the sign says free. But you didn't know when you got over there they were only going to be iPhone chargers, and you totally carry an Android. That, I mean, I guess you could still accept one. Would that really be just helping you at that moment? Because when people are in a crisis, they need help at that moment. Emergency is one thing, but usually emergency and crisis is in the same sentence, because emergency just describes the level of urgency that is might be needed in a certain crisis. Whether it's a health crisis, food crisis, housing crisis, finance and economy crisis, which all the ones I just named, I do think those are, I believe the level it is in the country, they need to go ahead and declare it what it is. And I don't even mean with the EBT, but the EBT is just a whole nother, it could be too. Like, go ahead and declare that a crisis. Millions of people are already coming out telling you they don't know what they're going to do. How is that not a crisis? How many people does it have to be suffering the same thing at one time, from the same thing at one time, for something to be declared a crisis? A situation, a circumstance, an issue that might be more on a mass level. For example, condolences, shout out, positive thoughts to those survivors, let's call them that first, of that most recent weather storm that everybody's talking about out there in Jamaica. I end up falling asleep. I was trying to kind of like follow the updates, even when they were first trying to, give out warnings for people to evacuate. Because as we know, with that kind of stuff, people don't always leave. When you talk about displacement, not just the word relocation, displacement is different because it's kind of like against your will type of deal. Yeah, displacement is another level of relocation. That's like you didn't even want to move. You didn't even want to switch. A whole weather storm done came, and now you gotta up and pack your family, or up and pack the things that you can, and try to move somewhere else. That's what displace. You got relocate, but you got displace. Yes, both are a form of moving, moving, or like transferring from one place to another when you talk about moving. But being displaced, that's just a whole different level of moving. Like, you didn't even want to. The hurricane came and you gotta go. Some people are able to return to their homes when you're talking about displacement type stories. Some are not. Because if there's damage when you return home, what home do you have to return to? That's what displaced. When people are displaced, that's what that's about. Like, you are being forcefully, and look, it could be nature. We know that with rent and evictions and stuff, that's another way that people end up. I guess that wouldn't be considered displacement, you falling behind on rent and having to move, but it is a form of it. Because, like, who really is just wanting to go through that? That's what people have to expect with no payment. That ain't even something you can get mad about. You could probably get stressed or disappointed about. You can't get mad about it. Because I said people should ask themselves more. When it starts, if I was just to give advice and a person want to look at, they feel like it's one of those things in their life they keep going through over and over and over again. Some would give you advice like, well, maybe it's something you doing. And that could be absolutely right. Something you doing, like not doing something is doing a whole thing. You know. Anyways, I didn't mean to get so deep about this. I didn't mean to get so. That's why I stopped talking for a second. And if you don't pay the rent, you have to expect to have to move. So that's a different form of displacement, in my opinion. So I just like to share my thoughts too, because one thing I'm gonna never do is get lost in my thoughts. I just have to remember that we all have a different perception out here. That's how it is for anybody with hardship. Like, I ain't trying to be funny. They say with uh, losing people, like everybody experiences grief different. Everybody shows depression or how they deal with something different. It's not that the people that's smiling all the time is saying like all is well. They might claim that a lot, and I wouldn't say that's lying. Just still speaking life into your own life when you have to. Somebody asks how you doing, all is well. I'm blessed. You like, this sister saying she blessed. I saw this and that in her life yesterday. I walked past, asked them how they doing. They say they blessed. Well, when I asked how she doing, she said all is well. A person asked me how they doing, hanging in there. Monkeying around, that's crazy. Cause monkeying around is just sound like you playing out here, like. But I might respond something like that, knowing me, like, I'm hanging in there for sure. They be like, that's all we can do. It really is. Hanging on, even by a thread, is still a step before. It's a step above, I should say. Just letting go, just giving up. That thread is still there. You might tell somebody, I'm hanging in there, as a response to how you doing. You gotta listen to people. They think it's a movie script. Like, no. I've made jokes about it in life. Some people, I wonder did they feel that before they even made biographies about them. Before they even did documentaries about their life. Did they feel it sometimes in their life? Like, oh, it was just some days I asked myself, is this a movie? No, it was your real life. But some people might think that to themselves sometimes, like, man, my life is like a movie. You might hear a rapper say it, but if you hear a common person say it, they just look at you crazy because they feel like, movie? They better go watch some movies out here. They look at you crazy. You could be a regular person and feel like that too. Like, I was wondering if the people that they have made movies about, though, if they felt it sometimes. Maybe like Jim Carrey, like before you were on the level. I know Jimmy Kimmel, somebody done probably interviewed him, asked him before, like, did you just see that for yourself later? But deeper than that, did you feel like your life was a movie sometimes? Ask Denzel Washington. He gives motivation. He's been known to give motivational speeches and different stuff. And that's a great thing. We were talking about donorship and charity and all of that yesterday. Feel free to tune in to previously recorded segments just like these, live insightful topics weekly here at You Will Make It TV. And not just for the views, but we appreciate you guys' support. That's what I said. It's not just for the views. Like, who are you? Everybody always end up wondering that at the end of the day. Like, who are you off of camera, away from people? Do you still care about the same matters and things that you talk about? But people have to remember, one person in the first place, just because they're a speaker, they can't change the whole world, sweetie. That's like you trying to put God power in that person. Like, come on, bro. They can't change. They can make impacts or something, maybe. Not even any of the leaders out there. Just, it ain't never happened before. I can say that. But that's what quote unquote New World Order and all of that is supposed to be about. But I'm one of those people that I ain't saying I agree with that. I agree with when times change, you have to evolve, or that evolution is just natural. I choose to look at it that way. It can seem like a smart aleck response or remark or statement to other people. Get down, mama. I don't want you to fall. Get off of there.
Stop.
Get down. Mm-mm. Get down. No. Move. Let me move it over here. Get your toys. Bring your bears over here to the couch. Go get your bears.
No.
Bring them on over here.
No.
Here. Get Minnie Mouse. She's over here. Get your puppets. Come on, come get your puppy. Come on. Yeah, people will wonder like who you are behind it. That's why they already switching into AI avatars. Ain't no telling what all people gonna be hiding behind soon. You got people out here encouraging people to come from behind a mask, and others actually making whole new inventions of masks. If you ask me, like avatars, profiles, everything is just digital. Even on games, like when you play the video game, you can create a character. You can create an avatar. Which player are you? Are you player 1? You player 2? And then what character are you playing? It's just like that in a video game. It's a deep way to look at it, y'all have to admit. Like, you got people encouraging others. They don't have to. They can be who they are and still live a peaceful life. I think God trying to show us that, like, why, look how just who a person is affects so many other people every day. The world makes it like this. But all at the same time, no one person has ever just, of course, like I said, they impacted it. Like we was talking about Michael Jackson the other day. I think it was just yesterday. Cause I might do 2 or 3. That's something we do. That's why I tell y'all we just do them weekly. Just tune in. We always got a new live topic that could be relatable. You know what I'm saying, to people on many levels. Humanitarian. People want to say Christian first, which you do have to put God first, and that would, that's not something you can just, I don't know. You got to care about people naturally. I just be giving my commentary and reactions though. Just a disclaimer statement. You never came out to the world and just said, hey guys, everything I think is right. Like, well, I never said that. That's why it probably looks strange to people. Like, this really how you be thinking, but this out here is who you are. Then it give you a deeper look. They don't always mean people fake or they not who they show or portray here. No actor on TV, honestly, or entertainer, they steal their own personal selves too. That's just their artistry. Like, they still bear the burdens or whatever they going through behind the scenes, and we're not gonna act like that's not true because social media exists now. You know, people gonna do it anyway. I just be saying it like that, but they thought they was teaching the world something like, y'all better be careful. People ain't who they say on the internet. That's always great advice. Don't get me wrong. Right? But if you really busy living your own life, like, why would it bother you any? You'll probably be barely on there to see everything they talking about. Like, like, really? Who? That's like you encouraging people to be that anyway. Be this avatar. Be who they want to be. That was who people was taught. That is what people are taught. You can be anything you want to be. That's literally supposed to be looked at as a positive thing to teach people. Yes. Interesting topic. Because people definitely do more with food or even show them, like, the smallest things. Like, they might look like a positive thing. Like, them cooking in the kitchen with their kids or doing recipes for, like, cooking channels. They'll say that person's working. Oh, that's clear. That's apparent. That person's cooking. That person's doing recipes on their channel. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I would agree too. They're working. Any content creator, like, we ain't taking that from the people. The power, everybody do something different. But you just want, oh, go get an income, get a job. Maybe it did come down to that. People feel like if they understand your money, if they have the highest power of understanding of your money, maybe they just feel connected to it. Like, maybe it is an energy, like they said. Like, it is like a whole exchange that goes on with money every day. People pay for stuff, buy stuff, give it, donate it. So many different type of exchanges. So why would a person want to limit themselves? Are they really living? It's easy to say that with our mouths and words. Are they really living though? If some people might say, yeah, like, yeah, I chase money every second of my life. I don't have a family. I don't have kids that I might need to spend time with sometimes. I might not have a garden to water. That's like not having nothing else to do. I might can't go fishing. I might can't go on a walk on a park and work out. Every second you just think money. So you don't have time for the things that make you, I ain't gonna say enjoy life, but that help you to experience your life better. Some of the natural resources on this earth was here long before anybody here right now, no matter how old they are, was here. The natural resources now, that's just natural nature. You go outside and see that, which is a luxury people do not actually take. To me, some people do, but just to be able to walk outside, man, and like see the sunlight, see the sky, the clouds. Ask a person that's ever been in some type of like isolation before, like the hospital, jail, mental health, places that you might consider, I hate to put it like that, but dark places. They can be looked at as places for treatment and help and helping people too. Some type of resolution center. That's probably a better way to put it, because nobody wants to look at prison as a good place or jail, but at the end of the day, that's what that is too. Like, I wonder, do sometimes in there they watch the news and kind of hear what's going on out here, because like in jail they never could get those. Have we ever thought about that? When we think about these topics on a humanitarian level, like they just, anybody, any country, any jail, they can't like get food stamps. Even hospitals and stuff, they don't, I don't even think they accept food stamps as a form of payment, and they never have. Let's talk about that part. They just want to talk about people with food stamps. Just because food stamps existed all this time does not mean every retailer accepted, let's start there, EBT as a form of payment. It did get to the point where a lot of merchants do or did. Online merchants, in-store merchants, they even have that thing, they have different money apps. We know that, like PayPal, all this different stuff. But they have other ways now too, because people have food truck businesses, all kind of different stuff they do. DJ businesses, where they're more contractors or entrepreneurs. They work for themselves. Photographers, whatever you do. Barbers and stuff. They can make the money at a more timely rate, in my opinion, because it's the scheduling, everything about work. The scheduling, the transportation, the shipping and handling, whatever you got going on. Not every business needs the same resources. Can we all agree? Even if we agree to disagree, the one resource we all feel every business, we need to see about every business to know it's a real business or take it serious. The one resource people feel like they need to see at some point with a business is money, income. Or in their opinion, how are you calling it work? How are you calling it a business? With the word work, though, that's something you always gonna see a person physically doing. Moving your mouth, speaking, that's work. But look how people use it. Look at what they use it to do. They try to tame people with the tongue. They try to hurt people with the tongue. Throw malice with the tongue. Because I feel like how you feel, your thoughts out loud with your own tongue, whether you speak it or it's your thoughts, it's already, that shows you where your heart might stand with certain things. I wouldn't say, I don't know, that might seem deep to people, but we just want to be gentle too in remembering, because 40 something million people being at risk even for 1 month. Some people is just like, oh, it's giving month too. Like, that matters, but because what if the shutdown lasts longer than that? They said it's not a deadline in sight, actually. What y'all think about this? Oh, God is really good, though. That's why we can talk about these topics. But they always, a lot of requirements changed in a lot of states. They always did require you to report income. That's just what, no matter what kind it is. Because if you're making too much money, you're not going to be approved for EBT. Thank you. Thanks. This ain't about how many kids people have. I think people been looking at it all wrong. This not about how many families and what the household's going through. Now, those statistics are real too. But it really goes back to the conversation of income. And income, yes, jobs are a way that people produce it. And then people work all kind of different ways. Like, the way, what kind of income it is what I'm saying. Like, sometimes it has nothing to do with work. Now you talking net worth, bottom line, period, income. That's a whole different topic. And then why would a person just be stuck in one spot of a limit of income for like another year on top of another year, and another year turns into another year? No. Okay, so I agree. Not only should a person always want to accumulate income if they can, able working body people and stuff like that, not only should they want to, they should be allowed to. Freely able to do that and search. Put in a search, put the work in to say, hey, I want to make, like, once you know, I ain't gonna say your value in that way, but yeah, when it comes to like what you can bring to an employer, that's something they teach you in workforce classes, in job readiness classes, even if you go to Job Corps or maybe even early in college, well, especially towards the end of a person's college program. They're definitely gonna be talking to you about that and teaching you that. You might get set up with what you call a career counselor, or most times when you're a student, even in college, you have some type of guidance counselor that they can't probably teach you everything because your goals are your goals, but they can, try to do the best that you're ready when it comes to things like your professional portfolio. I'm still making those for people, by the way, if anybody was wondering. That's might be actually a good thing with all the stuff going on out here right now, where you can actually still help people, which I was teaching on that yesterday, how volunteer work does pay people. That's not people business as long as they are reporting that income. Some volunteer work come with a pay called stipend, where it's like a agreed arrangement of pay. All that is different depending on what type of work you do. See, unemployment is a thing too. It's a real thing. And people could apply for unemployment benefit. Okay? And why am I bringing it up? Unemployment benefit is actually, back to that word income, it's one of those. So like I said, everybody's is set up different in different periods of their life. It shouldn't be a big shock to the world. But I'm saying anybody that's worked with those programs, if you actually utilize and listen to and pay attention to those parts, because they will have like job webinars and classes. They've been start doing that for sure since when Obama was in there. I know he did that much. He actually, it wasn't just one of those things he talked about with that. He was talking about like employment and job readiness classes for the youth during that time. Like, what was it, 14 through 21? I think it was different depending on what state you were in, but pretty much that was the age range. If you were around during those times, or you remember, because it is a lot of young people out there too. They young, but they grown now, but they still young, but they wasn't here when Obama was probably here, or they was too young during that time to remember. But if you was 14 through 21 and you might have even participated in that program, because guess what? They just had kind of gave out funding for like workforce centers and youth groups and stuff to be able to create job opportunities in the communities for the young people to actually explore. It was great. I think it was like something, as long as they sign in at the camp or the workforce, and come in and do those classes. I think it was either a one-time payment or they got it for a month, like every week. It was for them to get to experience what that will be like. You know what I'm saying? If that's something they trying to do. Plus, you got to make money at the time. It wasn't a whole lot of money. I think it was like $400 or something like that. If y'all know what I'm talking about. What was the name of that program, y'all? I'm not talking about Medicaid and Obamacare and all of that. Obama did a lot of great things while he was in there. No leader, I guess, is gonna be perfect. That's what I'm saying in a nutshell. Like, which one was? They all end up, everybody have their share of what leader was great. I mean, just great to where they was perfect. Like, come on, bro. Because Obamacare was a whole thing. But I'm not talking about Medicaid or nothing like that right now. This was a job readiness. This was something like with the workforce. Which makes sense. And even he didn't end up having a long government. I think they had government shutdown sometimes when he was in there too. Actually. But they didn't like loom this long. To where people was like, oh, are we gonna get EBT? That just wasn't happening then. What was that? 2008, 2007, 2008. Them times. This was not going on. If anything, it was more of a program to help the youth get prepared for work, and it was helping those older youth because it was 14 through 21. That program I was talking about, where it was the $400, that was for the probably like 14 through 18. A quick legal way they could make $400 that summer. And I don't care. I'll speak for myself if I got to be the only one. I have a lot of ideas to put stuff back out there, because it don't have to be the president or the government that's putting programs like that out there to try to help the youth or any body of people. It don't always have to be them. It never had to be that. People should want to do stuff for their own community so everybody's okay at the end of the day. I just thought that was just some stand-up. That was a stand-up program. I still can't remember the name of it. I think they even had like free after-school care. It was a lot that came with that program once communities had got the funding. I think the Boys and Girls Club and stuff like that was like free for the summer for certain kids. Their income was a certain, so it was just great. You didn't have them all like running out there where they could be in a way. Not saying that's what the kids is doing today, but today is way different. Like, more kids are pretty much using social media and stuff like this now too, just like everybody else. Gaming online and all of that. It's just a new time. But it was keeping them kind of like from outside in the summer. I wouldn't say from outside, but just more active in community projects. And it gives them a sense of learning what it means to like earn or make money. The older ones, they were actually helping them with jobs. I don't remember getting that. I think I did the classes though. I was coming up. I don't think I signed up for that. I was already just going to the workforce though at an early age. There's some people probably don't even know about me. I was already visiting workforce centers, not even to work there, but I definitely was like getting myself familiar when we talk about job readiness and workforce. They do have classes, trainings, and all of that to help you learn it and see that. Because why would a person just start learning Later in life, it's not bad, but I think I was up there a lot too, cause like I started working early, or that's how it is with some teenagers. You might need to print something or do something work related or submit some job hours. Once again, yes, a person can be working. I don't know about a teen. It got to be a different situation for a teen to maybe receive benefits like they have a baby or something else going on. Which y'all know those type of situations are still out there too. That's a part of the number of people that's getting cut off. Or I think with the teens, or look, I ain't gonna say getting cut off, but that are worried about that. See, there's young people out here with kids too. It ain't right. Nobody's saying it's right, but it happens. And then it ain't just like mothers and babies. You gonna pretend like it ain't young people out here that still been having babies, especially in this generation. That's a whole reason to need EBT and food stamps right there. You're young, the baby's young. Now let's say you do have help. You're young, the baby's young. You do have help. But both of y'all would still be staying probably in that household. So it's the baby that had the baby plus the baby, and then everybody else in the household. So every case is different. It's still like I'm right about what I said. Every case, they call it cases. You're gonna have a case number if you receive those type of benefits. Those are cases. Do people know what case mean? That mean your whole, whatever that household's dynamics is, and that's how the program works. We need to know the income, how many people work. Of course, if it's just one person working in the household, two people working, you might have two adults and two teens working in the household, but the other three children don't work. Stuff like that. Everybody case is different. Just like when people file their taxes every year, it shows that again. What everybody household is different. When they're reporting their taxes and doing their tax returns, it's going to show that every household, every case is different. Period. I don't know why people ever start getting into the mindset, oh, that's our money and that should go in our pockets. And no, it's everybody. Either way you look at it, it's everybody money. There's whole child support paying parents out there, rich and low income. That's the thing about that. This part of the topic do matter. That's one of those bills in life. Well, that's the thing about bills too. Whether you're rich or poor, a bill is a bill. But that's like one of those things people pay in life. No matter what status of work or that word again, income, they have. You order to pay that and the parent receive those benefits, they do take out of that to go towards that. That's like helping to pay that back. I don't know why people didn't know that. It ain't just a bunch of taxpayers who, oh, them ain't our kids. You need to feed your own kids. Oh, no. Wait a minute. Some parents are working and still receive benefits because their income is not a certain level yet or at that time. Especially if they're single parents. Also, there are parents that pay child support and they actually take a portion of that and it goes towards that. So you can't just say you feeding somebody kids. If they are child support paying parents out here that are taxpayers too, that means they feeding their kids. A child support paying parent is feeding their kids and other people's kids, because that child support is not the only tax they would take out of that person's income. Or come on, man. That part of it people don't even understand. They don't even understand it. And depending on that child support paying parents' income, that's how much they pay. So they paying for their kids and other people's kids too. Don't leave them out of it, because they gonna still take the same taxes out of their check plus child support. Ask a child support paying parent. Just ask them. You think child support the only thing they take out of it? They still pay taxes like everybody else. And yes, there are child support paying parents that probably receive benefits too. Like, it just get deeper and deeper. You can't just make one pool about the topic. Here, I'll get them for you. Here, here, open them. You know how to open it? I don't know where if people knew that or not. That's what I'm trying to tell the topic in an understanding way, like an insightful, educational EBT topic, bro. There are people that get EBT and they still pay child support. Let them people have a voice too. They have this been going on. They have taxes they still have to pay, or they come out of their before you even talking about student loans or anything else. Yeah, when you're talking people that have kids, that's a whole nother topic, bro. Regardless of what your financial status is, that is one thing that's in common. They already did a study, like one kid could cost a person for 18 years. I think it touched like $1 million. Of course, you're not spending it all at one time, but I believe that statistic. So people really be, whether it's them paying all of that or somebody else, that's the average life that made it to 18. That's the kind of resources that have to be put together through a person's life. About that much money, about $1 million for a baby to healthily make it to 18. At some point, that's how much money was contributed out of society for that person to eat, have hygiene, all them 18 years. People be millionaires and don't know it. You just didn't spend all of it at one time. Like, you don't notice it. Debt plus bills plus everything else you doing. Hey, Pooh. Hey. Yeah, you just don't notice you spend that much money. People done spent well over more than they think they have just this year alone. They just don't look at it till they start calculating their taxes and stuff the next year. Here. Bubbles. Here. Or if you already have a budget that you keep monthly. Sorry, I shouldn't have put everybody in that category. But if you had a budget book you keep or something where you more. Because I used to be on that like that. I ain't gonna lie to people. I used to just keep a whole, not even just like statements, like physical receipts, because that's something totally different. Like a physical receipt, like the actual piece of paper, I used to just be more on it, like try to actually literally keep every little thing. I wouldn't ever call that hoarding. A person hoarding, whatever they call it, collecting too much. A person who like to keep their receipts. We're not talking about their online stuff, like they physical receipts. I'm still kind of old school. I might get back to being like that very soon, actually, too. I mean, whether you cut EBT or not, you can't. Those type of habits are good habits to begin to accumulate. Because what if digital systems go down one day? That's great. You still have receipts. You got physical copies because you kept all your receipts. I said it's been a while. That don't mean you forget that skill or that habit. It was a whole habit. It was a habit. Like now, I might just more. I don't know. It's really not good, but I more like throw them away or something. But I used to didn't even be like that. Just recently, that wasn't even my character. Like, I keep all physical copies of receipts. Just the kind of person I was. Like, I wouldn't care how little. If it's a I gotta go get some car oil, some gas, cause they'll give you a receipt even at the gas pump. If you pay with your card right there, or you go in a store, every store you go to, they spend that money on receipt paper rolls. And some of us out here do appreciate it. Okay. I'll put it in there. Thank you. Here. Here, come on. Put those toys in that toy box.
No!
Come on and clean up.
No!
Yes. No, leave Mama's coffee alone. Here, you want some yogurt?
No, I want...
Here.
Mom.
Here. Get out of there. It goes back to that word income at the end of the day. That's why they be hollering the other word job and work, duh. But it's many other forms of income that people might receive. They might get retirement checks, like, are people crazy? It's all kind of people get EBT, especially because you can have an income, but if that word fixed is at the front of it, you can't do nothing about that. A fixed income, we're not talking to those people. I can understand why they need EBT at any time. Like, your fixed income might only just cover your utilities, and you can prove that. But yeah, you can't want a person to be in between both. Like, I want you to have a job, but I want it to be a fixed income, like where you ain't never making more than this much. The devil is a liar. Even I know he is. Yep, even me. Like, you lying with that right there. Because if a person ain't on a fixed income, why they can't go, like, get, make as much money as they want to. Apply themselves at any employer that might be paying well over what you think they should make, To me, that's what fixed income is about. Some people's, we're not saying fixed because they calling it fixed. We're saying fixed because I think certain incomes that people get, that's a whole requirement. You can't work over certain hours, like disability and stuff like this. If people needed an example of what I was talking about when I said fixed income, some people been surviving off of that. You either survive off that fixed income, or you go around people trying to help everybody knowing you was already on a fixed income, and now you're depleted even faster every month. Other people won't look at that, especially if they know that, like, well, that person has a fixed income. They always got this or that coming in. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, they probably be whole targeted people too. Even social media creators, I wouldn't even put it out there. If I started making money or just getting big, I wouldn't even put it out there. Like, a person could look at that as, oh, that person gets a fixed income. Or now I want to know what date that person get their check. I don't have time for all that. So the people that actually try to keep themselves out of that pot of that fixed income mentality, leave them alone. I wouldn't say that's poverty mindset still, but fixed income is not for everybody. They might have even more of a plate where they need more than them fixed dollars. They actually literally need more than that to like, what? That's the goal. We didn't say everybody's trying to become financially freedom, or that it's possible for the whole society to be like that. Like, is that what they saying they want for people? Everybody become financially free, or let's at least work towards that. Okay, well, make it realistic. If you're on a fixed income, like I said, people been living like that too. They have a very strict budget because they weren't getting food stamps to begin with. That's how people been voicing. Like, so to them, oh, that's good. Everybody gonna be in my shoes. But it's people that was struggling to feed themselves, and it was just them because they've been talking about it on TikTok. Unless they lying and just doing skits. And I don't think this lady was lying. We was talking about that, how she said she had to pay with Klarna, and we all know what Klarna Pay is, for her grocery orders to buy food. She was already going through that earlier this year, where people was, if it wasn't the EBT, like people just complaining that they weren't being qualified sometimes. They really were. They were saying, well, they tell me when I went down there I make too much money, but I showed them what all I pay and all my responsibilities, and they still said I make too much money. You know, they did turn away some people, and even if they when they get turned back on, people will still, unfortunately, be turned away just as often, and that's why you don't see that number of people that they saying is getting them. That's why you don't see it as a bigger number. Not everybody gets approved. That part. And that's what it come back down to. You been had people that felt some type of way about that. Like, they look at it as favoritism or something. Well, Jack gets food stamps, but they didn't approve me. People been feeling like that since things did not go back to exactly the same before the pandemic. It really did change things in people's households and stuff. When we talk about the word income, they're the ones make this a qualification and wanted to make this about income. I kept trying to walk away from the topic too. When at the end of the day, that's all this really do boil down to. Like, because of course you don't even need that benefit if your income is where it needs to be, your household size, as they say. Of course, people should just sit down and like budget. Okay, my household size 4, mine 5, mine 6, mine 7. So how much money do I need to be? You don't need a workforce class to teach you that, but I'm saying some of us did attend them. Attended them a lot, you know. What does when I look at because people household sizes change every year too. That's the whole point of like babies being born. Like, that means household sizes do change. You could have a household of 4 last year, have a household of 5 next year, type of deal. And just sitting down calculating, like, okay, what is my household size? You don't need food stamps and them to help you see that. But if that's what it takes, because some people didn't have any type of lessons of financial literacy in their life before they came up and started doing it themselves, well, maybe that helps some people. So they show you, look, we look at your household size. That's telling you, you should. You should. That's your family. You got a household of 5. How much money do you feel like you need to be living making where everybody is getting the accommodations that they need, the lifestyle that they need that makes them comfortable? We didn't say wealthy, but comfortable. Like, healthy, especially when it's children involved. Right? How much do you need to look at how much you need to be making? Don't just let them tell you go get a job and work. Actually, while you looking for a job, it don't hurt to apply for job training, things and skills that help you get a certification or license or elevate your I ain't gonna say your status, but maybe your chances in landing positions that help you to better reach that income threshold, that's comfortable for your, I'm gonna repeat it again, family size. Everybody's family size is not, and we just talking about the family size in the households. That's why people try to make it a problem with the households. I'm telling you, it matters more. They're the ones write this stuff and give it to us. You're looking at the household size based off how much the person makes per household size and how many people bring in an income in the first place for people to get EBT. Okay, so you look at the household size. We get that part. Now, they shouldn't have to tell you like, oh well, you make 27,000 a year. You qualify for a extra benefit to help you feed your family. That's all that is. You should be able to look at it and say, I need to be making $27,000 a year. Before you even start those, if I was to teach workforce classes, this is how I would teach my segments. I would say things along this line because I really believe this. You don't try to hurry up and counsel people from listening to a person. Let them experience what that person talking about first. Apply that sometimes. And if it's actually helping people, that's not something you can bury and cover up. That's something people need. Job readiness, job skills, job preparedness, classes. You're the one mentioning income every other second in the corner that we turn lately in politics. Income and taxes. I would say that's a good place to start. When you first tell yourself, you come to the job readiness class and say, Miss Whitney, I'm ready to make an income elevation in my life. Yes, I'm at this food stamp office. Yes, I need these job readiness classes right now, but I'm trying to elevate from this to making more income. If a person come in my office with that kind of mindset, yeah, we would be doing all we can to help to actually do that because that's what job readiness is about and helping this person to elevate their income, even if it's just from $0 to minimum wage. We're gonna help that person do that. From $0 to minimum wage, if a person is not on a fixed income, there's no reason why they don't have a right to do that. To elevate their not just a job, not just work, like I said, elevating their income. That's what it would be about if I was a job readiness counselor, which I might be going that direction. Imagine the devil trying to hold jobs and stuff over your head and you go to a job readiness counselor. Because it's not saying that people can't go apply for jobs on their own. It's looking more in between the surfaces of why you're not being hired. The application process and interview process is just that. They like, why they talk about that at You Will Make It TV? Because how are you making an income and you're not going through the interview process or the application process? That's the first two steps of income. Unless you're an entrepreneur. We're not talking to y'all right now. An entrepreneur, they might be the ones hosting the because contractor, it's all kind of levels of entrepreneurship. But I'm not finna get into that right now. But they wanted to get all deep and technical about people's incomes and taxes. So it's like, and who deserves EBT and who don't. If you're on a fixed income, that means you are making the same amount every month of the 365 days. That amount is not going to change. That does not mean that that's the fixed income that's enough for your family size. Family size limit has always been a part of the topic. If you are helping to contribute in an income way to a family, that's a part of the topic. Your household size. Is it 2 people? Is it 3 people? Is it 4 people? Is it 5 people? Is it 1 adult and 5 children? Is it 2 adults and 1 child? That matters. Not just I make more money than that person. Come on, man. Where is the logic? Or I want to compare my finances and feel like I'm making more than this person at any given time and then turn around and watch how they live while I'm making more finances than them and then go down to the conclusion that they don't even deserve that. They don't even, like, what? Why are you comparing your finances? Is your household size even the same as the next person's? That's why they be ready to talk about that too. Like, well, yeah, people having too many kids and they can't take care of them. Okay, when you saying people, make sure you're not just talking about mothers. And then they try to be funny and say it's just black mothers using up the EBT, but it's really all different races of people that applied for EBT since the pandemic alone. But before that too, it was different. There's a people that use EBT. They might shop different because of that reason alone. You wouldn't see them buying the same similar products. Well, we should have been seeing the people on EBT buy potatoes and bread and uh, cheese and milk, not snacks. They got that deep with it. Knowing all of them ate snacks too back in their day, the snacks were just cheaper. They were a dime, a quarter. Back then, you could get, I heard you could get, I know too, because during our time, candy and snacks and stuff was cheaper. We're not going to alleviate that part of it. It's still a product in retailers. It's a part of what helped other people make income. So they actually don't need food stamps. Imagine that. You're putting millions of dollars in the sugar manufacturers' pockets, and then you need food stamps. It's crazy. But if you begin to bash your own customers for any reason, people look at that too. Why would they keep buying your product? You bashing what form of income the person is purchasing the food with. Because let me remind people again, not every food retailer even accepts EBT to begin with. As a form of payment, as much as money has advanced money technology and stuff today, every person, every place could be accepting EBT, but they don't. You go in there and get the other one. Here. Come on in here. Come on in here. Yeah. Yeah, every retailer do not accept EBT, bro. They want you to feel like, yeah, we're coming for all your resources. What I said is, before the government even had resources, people, if they didn't pull together in their communities and raise money and help with a cause, there was none of that. There was no GoFundMe or none of that. I was saying with the Obama youth work program, when he did that, it was a good logic that people could have did on their own for their own community. Like, hey, let's start a program. All the young people gonna make $400. Ain't nobody gotta sell drugs. Ain't nobody gotta sell their body. Anybody 14 through 21? No, we actually trying to see them get off the streets. We actually trying to see them get in more healthy activities. That it actually looked like you were trying to push the generation towards jobs. You had job readiness programs when they were 14 through 21. That's what that looked like. It looks more like you're actually trying to see the people doing that. You have child care. You have after school programs. You have benefits here. And programs within the benefits that are helping the people to elevate their income. And even the 14 through 21 year olds. Them especially. $400 might not seem like a lot today, but back then in the early 2000s, that's a lot for a teenager. They can help get their stuff to go back to school or have a little money, start somewhere, save the money, invest the money, whatever they wanted to do with it. And the ones that was old enough, like I said, they did stuff like maybe driver license class, like pay for it. That's another thing that helps to employ or bring in income for a young person, for example. Driving jobs. They can be like valet drivers or just, of course, today, Uber and Lyft, they probably wasn't as common back in the early 2000s, but 2008, when Obama was here, I'm saying people wasn't using Lyft and stuff, but I'm saying it's more prevalent today. They do still have special programs, I think, where they try to make sure that the youth can be transported as well if they need that for school or other study purposes or other athletic, academic related purposes. Transportation has always been a big one. But yeah, you just look more like you are trying to help people go to work. If not, you're not just talking to benefits while people receiving them. You should be more concerned of what other options. Like once again, not the word resource, but resource options. While a person is receiving any government benefit, or you start these programs on your own, like I said. Now y'all as a community are pulling the money together, and then it ends up being enough where you can pay all the young people who got into the programs, who actually came in, signed their hour sheets every day of the summer. They earned their money, and nobody's caught up in trouble. At least through those ages, you could say they had that resource option. They were paying for them for their driver's license, IDs, food handler license, anything like that that could help them actually take those steps, to start working and receive their own paycheck. And it wasn't just to help the household, it's to help the individual in the household who might be that age range. Just because your mother or father receives EBT, why that mean you can't have opportunities to grow even at the age you stand while your mother or father receives EBT? You already in STEM classes and science clubs and different activities that have absolutely nothing to do with crime and danger and school shootings, none of that. That's when you take more money out of the pocket. I knew I wasn't tripping when I thought that the first time. If anything, the programs that were helping the youth, that's just common sense. You leave those there, or you're just calling and screaming for attention to be on you. Cause like, what's going on? That's the future. You want to be investing in those programs, those benefits, and the programs within those benefits, those resource options that continue to help the youth and children before anybody else. I'm not saying anybody else don't matter, but especially during these times. What I think they seen happen, because it was a lot of help for the mothers and children, and this is so unfortunate. I'm talking about during the pandemic. It actually was. It was more help, more benefits, and maybe that caused its own problem. You got those that say, well, because I didn't have all these household members and kids, I didn't get this extra benefit, but they felt like they were still struggling. But still, they had help for everybody. If I remember, they had help for everybody, even if you didn't have kids. It's just that pocket watching stuff again. They were looking at exactly how much of a benefit you might have been getting pertaining to the household size. So I don't know what it is about that, but people do look at that like, oh, well, that person got this many kids, or maybe they get this much food stamps. No, it's not actually about how many kids you have. It's about what the income limit is. You can have 7 kids and still make too much to receive EBT benefits. These are the education facts. You can have a household of 10 members, but if both of those parents in that household, if their income together is too much, they're not going to qualify. It doesn't matter how many kids they have. I don't know where people got that idea that it's only based on if you have kids. It's not even just based on that. If you have them, regardless of how many you have, that is not the only thing that qualifies you for EBT to begin with. This is people with old mindsets that been changed. This is based off of your income. I think that's always been like that. Like, that's the number one rule of food stamps, bro. If you make too much income, INCOME, which is incoming funds, incoming, right? Any type of regular income. And you're able to pay your bills, because that's what they look at. They might say, okay, we see your income, but what's your utility budget? Like, if I tell you I make $1,700 a month, but my utilities come out to $1,000, they would say, we see what you've been talking about. We see where a struggle might present itself sometimes in your life because you have an income right here. But I'm telling you, with anybody, if it's FIXED, just like fixed interest rates, fixed anything, if it's a fixed income, that person is in a different position from anybody else getting whatever money, however fast they want to get the money. Theirs is on a fixed income. And with some benefits, if you go over that fixed income for any reason, you're going to lose the whole benefit. I promise. So they was trying to say that people try to keep I guess they wanted to look like that. Like, they keep their income limit like that on purpose just so they can get benefit. Like, who would think like that? Maybe there are some like that, but I don't think anybody who have the opportunity to earn more income, why would they not choose that? You're not going to play me like I think everybody thinks like that who receives EBT. No, if they really were having opportunities put it in front of them left and right to fix their income, why would they not be doing it? I don't mean fix it, but because some income is better than none. But I mean, let me word this correctly. I mean, if they want to change it, elevate it, increase it, that means you was making $2,200 a month. Let's just not say making, because once again, that's why we're talking about fixed income. You could be making money part-time at a job and getting a whole nother government benefit. If you start making more money at that job for any reason, like a promotion, or you get moved to a different part of the company and you start making more money, if it's too much, I know y'all like, she done said this 1,000 times because we got to get it through people's head. You're not going to qualify anymore for that benefit. Period. They're going to tell you, okay, go get your money. And then they don't want to hear, oh, this not enough money. And I know how it is. I know this is a fact. So when a person is trying to elevate their income, it's like, let them do that. You telling them they need to take care of their own kids and quit crying, because if it's really just about that, why don't you have more success stories of people who elevated their income? I mean, I know they did when, like I said, with programs like Obama had with the youth workforce thing, putting them to work in the communities and stuff. Shout out to another city, they know who they are, where they had helped homeless people. They was creating jobs for them. They could just go sign up at the shelter for a job, not just it displaying and looking like that, but it actually being that. They could go sign up in the front. And they had them doing like construction cleanup or street cleanup. I was looking for the proper term for that, where they just pick up trash on the highways. And they actually, even though it was minimum wage, they actually got paid real proof of income, like check stubs, direct deposit, real pay to do this work in the community. Now, I don't know if it was the state that funded that or the government or what, but they have started stuff like that in some communities long before there was rumors of quote unquote food stamps possibly staying off longer. Something people depend on. Come here, what happened? Yeah. I didn't know if people understood that or not, but these are all facts. It's always been about that word. They gonna ask you all up and down in your business about that word. INCOME. So how is that not like tracking a person, their life? And they'll tell you, well, this is our government program, so we have to know your job when you have a job. We got to know if it's a new job. We got to know where you working. Okay, long as y'all said that. Because why can't a person just document how much they're making? Like, no, they want to know the supervisor's name. They probably want a copy of the check stub, because a copy of the check stub give you even more, uh, I guess, details of the employer. It just would. Like, it just have more information on it. It's called a check stub. They want to know that first, before the streets, before your neighbors, before your family members, before anybody, your friend knows where you work. If that friend gets EBT, they know first where that person just got a job, because that's something that you're required to report. I think it's usually within the first 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. You do have a time limit to report that income. So you can't say people out here getting jobs and not telling food stamps about it. What? They have a limit of time where you have to tell them about it. You got to know what you're talking about. Okay, then if you can prove after that time frame, whatever it is in that state, they didn't report it in that time frame, then you can say they trying to some possibly be fishy. But that's something they always make people do. For Medicaid, food stamps, you're going to have recertification appointments. That mean like a checkup. I know I'm talking with fancy words. A recert appointment is just like a checkup. We're checking on you. Did your income change? You might say yes, you might say no. Because if it's yes, your benefit amount is about to change. On this side, why would we need to give you the same amount if you're making more income? Back to that same question. You're making the same income. It haven't changed. The bills are still the same price. You still got the same. Get off of there. You still got the same household size. And then, if it's the same, you pretty much probably get that benefit for another 6 months. Unless in between that 6 months your income change again, or there's a household size change, or there's an address change. Those are called reporting your changes. Okay, you can have a phone number change and stuff like that. They have it convenient now, where you can call 211. They can help you update your information on there if you need to. I mean, like, if you need to, like, update something. We're not saying, like, changes. Like, oh, I'm 26 now. They don't care about that. But if you have, like, personal changes that have to do with your income, because, see, depending on where you live, your rent is different, for example. Or how you pay rent, or who you pay rent to. All of that. Ain't that something? It's just something they require recipients to report. Just ask recipients. They make you report all your personal information just to receive the benefit. You want to hurry up and jump the gun and look at under the horoscope at the people who receive the benefit. But they also have requirements just to do just that. Receive benefits. Y'all thought people was just sitting in their house not doing nothing, receiving benefit. You don't know what they're required to do because of that. Even if you feel like you seen them in their bed all day, you don't know what they doing on their phone. You can do a lot from your phone these days. Some people work from their phone. So, you could be given a company phone where you work from your phone too. Or you can invest in your own phone and networks and Wi-Fi and data and work from your own phone. We learned that years ago. It's just that you have negative things people do negatively with technology, and things that people do positively. That's never going to change. I don't like it either, but some of us, we mean real honest work. That's what we're referring to when we say that's totally possible with a whole phone these days. You can be on your couch, in the backyard, wherever, and a person just think, well, that person must be retired. I don't ever see them at work. That's the problem. It ain't their business to begin with. You trying to spare them from looking dumb the whole time. How you know that person don't go to school from home? I know some people, you can do your schoolwork right in the bed. papers, journals, tablets, pen, calculator. Get down, Pooh. Sorry, y'all. I had to pause it again. I was looking for my charger. Where's that charger? I just felt like I should share some of these EBT education facts. Cause like, I don't know if people knew these things. Like, every program has its rules. It don't just be like anybody and their mama can. I mean, they try to apply, but that don't mean anybody and their mom get approved, is what I'm saying. And then look at it. Why is it the same people that do? They have to keep going back to be. They wouldn't have to. Nobody's forced to. If you ask me, nobody's forced to ever have to go get on food stamps. Okay? But see, that's people's point. If they're on a fixed income, people don't understand what them two words mean. And then I guess people just ask themselves, like, what had your income so fixed, tangled up in a web? Why is it so fixed? What if a person wants to make more in a life than fixed? And it ain't even just because they want to, they need to. Not even just to live comfortable, like they actually need to. They have a bigger household size, or they have bigger debts to pay, or they have this or that. Why would you so that means people have a love of saying somebody owe them. They love the clout that comes out of it. Because how many people are going through just being at fixed income level, and why? It's kind of good things are being shaken up a little bit so people can look at some of this stuff. If you're not on a fixed income, ain't no way you need EBT. Ain't no way. I was trying to see if it lets me hit the like button on my own stream. I'm telling y'all. Like, only, how am I trying to explain this? Only on a fixed income might you see a person still need assistance. And that's like understandable. There's no other way to look at it. Y'all trying to make it about who got kids, how many kids, what's going on in the household. That matters after what I just said. Regardless of what's going on in the household, all of that, this still goes back to one word. How much income one makes. One or two, or everybody that stay in that household. What are all of their incomes? See what I'm saying? You can have a 16-year-old that work, an 18-year-old that work, and two grown people. But you still have two toddlers. Like, everybody's household dynamic is different. And when that household is like that, where everybody all need different accommodations, because everybody is literally not just different ages, but like huge age gaps. Like, everybody accommodation is literally different. That's a whole time in a person's life. Not only do they need an income or fixed income, but if they want to make more than a fixed income, who is trying to hold them back from that? That's weird. See, that show you it's all about appearance and image. To them, it's all about income. They tell you this. Ain't no thing you're gonna apply for with assistance not gonna ask about your income. Or if you had the income, why are you applying for assistance? Period. You need EBT. Why do you need any of it? Medicaid, you should be able to pay for your own doctor bills and everything. You ain't on no fixed income. You got financial freedom. You make it as much money as often as you want to make it. So why would you need assistance? Period. Why would you need help with Pampers, doctor bills? Because that's what Medicaid help people with. Not the diapers part, but they might be. Medicaid has resources you can call. I don't know if I'm teaching people something or not. Right? If you might need things for a baby or the elderly. Okay, so that's just that. They be trying to look at you directly. What resources does this person use? When you should more look at it's a good thing that there's even resource options out there, or look at the reality that some people do fall into. Hey, Pooh, no. Bro, it all go back to that one word, income. The incoming money. Whether that's child support, retirement, alimony, I don't know, people get paid all kind of ways. But we're talking about the word income. Then there's other situations where the breadwinner literally loses their life or something very tragic. And if that was the breadwinner in the household and people don't know your situation, what now? People are bad people. Everybody can't be the breadwinners. That would be a good life. That's what Trump's saying. Everybody should become breadwinners. Not a bunch of people flocking around one person who's the breadwinner. Maybe that's the problem.